created called How to Write a Book to become better at your business and grow your business. So, hello, everybody. If anybody shows up, well, please tell me where you're from and tell me why you are in this group. I'd love to hear from you and know a little bit more about yourself. Hi Penny, thank you for being there. And my supporter, yay! So thank you so much. So yes, this is my first live. I wanted to do a live every Wednesday at this hour. Very short tonight, just to introduce myself and give a little bit of background, how I started, why I started, and perhaps that will inspire other people. Yay, Detroit! Woohoo! So thank you, Penny, for being here. And yes, and it's a good place to be. Penny says that I'm here to learn from before creating my first book. It's a great place to be before you start writing your book, because you're going to learn a lot of what to do and what not to do, and how to basically create a business that's going to grow and hopefully expand with your book. So how did I start being a best-selling author? So a little bit of background. I was born in Serbia. I was raised in France. That's why all these accents are all mixed up and and come together. So English is my third language. I learned English when I was 13 on my own. My parents had a pastry shop, and I started working with them when I was 8 years old. So I was working at the cash and also in the back store, and I could see all these beautiful products coming in, but I couldn't read the boxes, and I was very, very frustrated. And because I was growing up in Canada, my parents moved from France to Quebec. Well, there was kind of an English kind of movement, so it was very difficult to learn English in school. And so at 13 I kind of got fed up, and I decided to learn on my own. And a very determined little girl, I started listening to all the records and wrote down all the words from all the songs, and then tried to figure out what they meant using a dictionary. And by the age of 16, when I started college, I was kind of advanced for my age. I started college very, very young. I already was one of the top English speaking person in my school, and after that it helped me really get some of the top jobs, because nobody else spoke English like me. And now in the US, I might not be the best speaking English person, but I do my best. And as they say, I might speak with an accent, but I don't think with an accent. So all that being said, I always wanted to write a book. I think it was something that was deep inside me. There was like this perhaps my soul longing. Supposedly, before I even started speaking, I was, every time they brought me to a store, my parents or my aunt, uncle, I was always pointing to notebooks. I was pointing to pens. I wanted my parents to always buy me pens, always buy me fountain pens or notebooks. And to this day, it's kind of a little bit of almost a joke or a running gag that they still buy me pens and notebooks, and it still makes me happy as always. So I collected them forever. I had a ton of notebooks that I filled out. Now they're all filled, but at some point I had an enormous amount of notebooks and enormous amount of pens that I collected, but I never wrote. And the reason why I was kind of afraid to write One was because, well, my parents were immigrants, and so I was really raised in the mentality that you have to work hard and you have to become either a doctor, a lawyer, profession, a high-standing profession, if you want to respect your parents, and kind of the immigrant mentality. But I really didn't want to be a doctor. I really didn't feel like being a lawyer. I wanted to go in arts and science and learn about the philosophers of this world and political science and history. So I finished a master's in communication. And when I graduated, well, there was no job for someone that had a master's in communication. It was completely useless, all that education. But it taught me to write, because I did have to write my master's 100 and some pages, which at that time seemed like so much writing, and now it seems like nothing. And so I didn't get a job right after, so I went to sales, something that I was really good at: sales, business development, marketing, PR. That's what I was really strong in, and that's what I did. So I didn't write very early on because, one, I was kind of brought in the idea that I had to work, and that a book would never bring me any money. I would be a starving author, and I didn't want that. And the second thing is that I lost the contest, the poetry contest, when I was like 15. And it kind of destroyed my self-esteem. And I thought that I wasn't good enough. And so I kind of hid from writing or showing what I was going to write. But in any case, many years went by. And in 2005, I went solo. I left the corporate world and opened my first business as a consultant, and I worked for myself for about 4 years, and in 2009 I first became financially free. So I realized that I had more time, I had the money now. Now, what did I want to really do with my life was to write books. So I never started writing because of the money involved. I started writing because of the passion I had, and because I really thought that if I could write a book, I might help somebody understand what took me so long to understand, and maybe I could give a hand to somebody else. So I wrote my first book in 2009, 2010. I already wrote, I think, another one. And then I started searching for a publisher. And I looked for a publisher for, my goodness, for about 2 years. I was refused by 400 agents. So at that time, you would open the letters, and every time I opened the letter, it was a negative answer. 400 negative answers. So you can imagine that it kind of gets to you after a while. The first 100, but after the 300th, it kind of gets to you. So it didn't matter. I still had courage. I still had conviction that I was going to get published. And so, so what I did is I basically continued on. And then at that time, it was like 2010, I think 2009, 2010, I came across the self-publishing world with Amazon. But at that time, 12 years ago, it was almost nobody knew about it. It was really something brand new. There weren't many authors that would self-publish. It wasn't like today. It was really, the power was in publishers' hands. If you didn't have a publisher, you were like a nobody. As of today, it's completely the opposite. But in those days, it was really the mentality. So I still wanted a publisher, but since I had the opportunity to self-publish, I did. And at least I saw my book. I could have it printed by Amazon, sent to me, and I could look at it and say, hey, this is my book. I'm finally an author, published author. So I was very proud of that. And that first book actually did not sell at all very well. but it gave me the opportunity to start speaking in public. Because I was a published author, I started getting speaking engagements, and that thrilled me. And so I started speaking in public in different arenas, different events. I started also booking my own, like creating mini events through libraries, through some stores, some bookstores. And I would get like 40, 50 people that would come. It was still all right for a starting speaker. And then I got an agent that booked me larger gigs in businesses like corporations, where I would speak in front of a crowd of salespeople, or do motivational speaking, or speaking about time management, law of attraction, all those nice things. And past the time, 2012, so now 3 years later, I went to see my mom in Serbia. She was ill. Now she's okay, but at that time. And while I was there, I realized that I brought only 3 books with me that were from the same publisher. And I found that kind of funny coincidence. So I contacted the publisher of those 3 books. That was a French, actually a Swiss publisher. And I only wrote him 2 lines in my email. I didn't explain what the book was about. Actually, I didn't even write that book yet. It was just a concept. But I shared a concept, and I told him that I really had a good feeling that that was going to be a hit. I said, something in me says that the trend is that that's going to be a hit. And it was a small book about the practical way to use the law of attraction, basically. And he answered, yes. I was floored. And he later told me that in his 25 years, it was in business of being a publisher, it was the first time that he ever said yes to someone. And he would receive about 250 people a year that would ask for him to publish them, and he never ever replied by email ever before. So it's kind of weird. He said, I don't know what got into me, but, and on top of it, he said, on top of it, you didn't even send me a book. You sent me 2 lines about a book, and I just, something in me told me that it was the right thing to do. So I was ecstatic to have my first book officially published by a publisher. And so I wrote it really fast. I wrote it in 4 weeks, and I sent it over. I was panicked. I was so hopeful that I didn't mess up. But he loved it. They just fixed it up a little bit, but not that much. And in June 2013, that first book came out. It coincides with my moving to Florida. I moved from Canada to Florida in actually almost a week ago, 8 years ago. So almost to the day, 8 years ago. I took my car, I had $600 in my back pocket, and I thought, I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I am going to Florida, and I'm gonna live there, and I'm gonna figure out things. I'll figure it out somehow. It was very, very scary, to say the least. I was petrified. I was dead scared. I've rarely been that scared in my life, but I didn't know anybody. I had no friends, no acquaintances, no job, not even a place to live. I didn't know how things are gonna go. I didn't know how I was gonna survive with $600. My car was old. I didn't know if it was gonna hold on the trip. It was 30-hour drive. So it was really total insecurity, but you know, it's out of your comfort zone that you find success. So I arrived here, and I found a place that, you know, was only $600 a month, and they took month per month, which was another miracle. And so all of that was actually a big miracle, moving into that apartment. It was really God opening doors. There's no other way to put it. And so now that I had paid my rent and I had no more money, I hoped for another miracle. Now, how am I going to eat now? And so I went to the beach and I just asked God, like, what now? How now? What should I do? And I said, it's too big for me. And in any way, I don't care. I'm at the beach. Who cares about the rest? I escaped the cold because when I left Montreal, it was freezing in March. I arrived at the beach. It was beautiful. And I said, who cares? Even if I die from hunger, at least I'm here. I'm living my dream. And so I came back home that day after the beach, and I had an email from that same publisher that was completely panicked, telling me that one of his authors that was supposed to write a book on the law of attraction had actually quit, and he needed a book written in like 4 weeks, 5 maximum. And he said, I know you write books really, really fast, so I thought of you first. Are you able to write me a book in 5 weeks? And if so, I'll send you a first draft of $500. And it was like, $500? Are you kidding me? I'm going to be able to eat now all month, maybe 2 months. So I was psyched. I was so happy. I said, of course I'm going to write the book in 4 weeks. And so there I went, writing the book, being able to eat. But now how I was going to pay my next month rent, because it was still coming very fast. And so I pondered again, I meditated, and I thought, what if this first book is a big hit? What if it becomes this mega success? What are people going to do? So then I thought, well, if it's really a success, people are going to want to know more about me. They're going to want to know more about, what I teach, and they're probably going to want to take either more courses or coaching. I did coach individuals before that. I started coaching people in 2005. So I already had 5 years of experience. It's just I didn't have clients at that time. But I thought, we never know. If they read the book and they like it enough, they might ask me either to coach them or they'll want to buy a digital product. And so I created my first digital product. I created my website from scratch with the $200 that I had left after buying food for like an eternity. And there it was. And I started creating videos in French that pertain to the subject of the book, 1 video a day. And faster than I thought, I just started seeing people buy my products. And it was just surreal. So within a year, I skyrocketed. I went from having $250 to having $250,000. So it was just a humongous success. So I hope this inspires a lot of people that a book can change a life. For me, it has more than changed my life because I owe my green card to writing books. So for me, it's changed more than my life. I have had people. I bought a Porsche at one point. Well, the dealership didn't ask me for anything. I didn't have yet my social security number, so they couldn't check my credit. They didn't care. They saw that I was an author, a public person. They Googled me, and they gave me the keys to a car. It was just like mind blowing, And there I was leaving my poor car that led me to Florida, leaving it for a superb convertible Porsche. So I've had all my places where I lived where I rarely had people check my background or who I was because they could Google me, see my books, and basically hand me the keys to the place I would live in. So it's kind of, not speaking about all the restaurants, all the even plane tickets or better seats that I got in so many different places. So it's it's quite stupendous how life changes after we have a published book. But the first thing I think that really, really changes is that you become really the expert, the authority, notorious for a certain field. You become a specialist, and you develop, people immediately kind of have more trust in your abilities because they see that if you did the research and you went through the trouble of writing a book, then it must mean that you have that a certain level of expertise. So that's why I created this group, because I really believe in what I'm saying. I really believe that books transform lives in business. I would not, like, I've written poetry, you know. I would not suggest to people to write poetry nowadays if you want to build a business. I don't think it's a massive way to develop more sales, but there are techniques and there are ways to leverage a book that I've learned in the last 7, 10 years. I've learned a lot by writing so many books. I just finished my 41st book. I'm also a film producer, and I've written about 22 feature film screenplays. So I've learned a lot in the process, and I've learned a lot about the industry. And I avoided, sometimes I got trapped, I got scammed. Sometimes I avoided some. But there's a lot, I'd say, of mistakes that can be avoided, that I could have avoided, and things that I've learned on how to do, what not to do. You know, do you choose a publisher? Do you publish on your own? What are, the positive aspects of both? What to do precisely before you write a book? So things like that I've learned throughout my journey, that I want to share and help people kind of get to higher levels of success using a book. I'm very passionate about it. There's very little means that someone can get that kind of notoriety and reputation. Of course, there's ways that people need to understand. They need to market the book. It's not just writing it and nobody reads it. There's like a strategy that you have to put in place. And I will be talking about all of that through my weekly live events. And so I will open the panel. If Penny has a question, I will be more than happy to answer. Or if anybody else jumps and wants to ask any question, I'll be more than happy to answer any question you might have. If you have any for me. I'm already thrilled. I thought nobody would be there listening to me, so I'm already super happy that I have 2 people watching. This is such a brand new group, right? So thank you for joining this group, by the way. I'm very happy to have you here. And I hope you get a ton of value. That's really the plan. That's really the hope I have. And the video, in any case, this live, will be uploaded afterwards again on this group, so people will be able to revisit it, even if they join later. At least it will be here for posterity. So any questions? Let me see. Maybe I'm missing. Oh my goodness. Oh, hi, Rhonda. Oh, I didn't see all the comments. Oh my gosh, now I see them. Well, thank you. Thank you for all the comments. I didn't scroll. I forgot to scroll. Hello, Indiana. Hi, Rhonda. So, well, thank you, Penny, for telling her what to do. I didn't see that I needed to scroll, so now I'll be more diligent. It's my first, so forgive me. So how expensive is it to self-publish? Well, great question, Rhonda. It's actually zero. It costs nothing to self-publish if you do it on your own. So you know how it is, huh? Everything that you do on your own will cost less, but will take time. So sometimes, you have to measure the pros and the cons. Do I do it on my own, but it's gonna cost me nothing, but it might take me forever? Or do I hire someone? It might cost me a bit, but at least they're experts in what you do. If you hire self-publishing via Amazon is it you need to know you need to develop a few skills to know how to edit the book properly, so it is properly edited, so it looks like a book, not just like a PDF where everything's not nicely organized on the page. So yes, that's the formatting of the book needs to be done properly. The editing, you want to have a good book. You want people to like and enjoy the content, to then afterwards contact you for more, right? How many pages should a book be? I think I will have too many. So how many is too many? That's a great question, Penny. The first book that I wrote, that's called Be Free, at that time it was kind of a beautiful synchronicity. I was reading on synchronicity, and I'm not joking. This is not even a joke, it's true. I was reading on how to create synchronicity. It was a book by I forgot his name now. It's gonna come back to me. And in the book it said, well, you gotta ask for what you want and let it appear. So I asked the universe that I really wanted to get a mentor that was in real estate, because it's something that I really love, and that was also a writer, because it would be great to have a kind of a writer mentor for my first book. And the next book that I opened out of the pile was a book called The Lazy Millionaire by Mark Fisher. And just in there, he was saying how important it is to be a mentor. It was like pure coincidence. And his email was there in the book, which is so rare. So I emailed him and I said, hey, Mark, blah, blah, I need a mentor. And I see you're also in real estate, something that I love. And I'm a writer. I'm now writing a book called Be Free. And that was all in French. So he answers me after 30 minutes, pure synchronicity. And he says, wow, your book is in English. I need someone to help me with my English. If you were there at the beginning, I explained how much in Quebec people did not necessarily speak well English. And so I said, of course. So I started helping him with some of his books in English. I helped him also with some of the scripts that he wrote, because he also wanted to go in filmmaking, producing, much before I ever thought of it. So I helped him with that. And then he read my first book, Be Free. And that's what he said. He said, Slavika, you have 4 books in your book. That's too much. You can split this book in 4 and make 4 books out of this book. And that's almost what happened. I did split out the book afterwards. And I'd say that 200 pages, 250 pages is okay. Usually we write a book about one subject, and that's what I teach in my coaching program. Is I basically show how to pick the proper subject. That's not all I show, but one of the things is how to pick the proper subject for your business to grow. Because it's not just, I have a client, a coaching client, for example, that has a biography. So great, it's nice to have a biography, but it's not necessarily going to help your business. So you need, and now it's kind of an issue, because we can't really use the book in any way to scale her business. It's just like one thing on the side but it's not useful. And what I'm coaching and teaching people is how to make it useful, so that you don't waste all that energy and all that time to create something that's not going to be built as a pillar to scale and to create a larger business out of it. So 200, 250 pages, 180, like a lot of books nowadays have 180 pages is quite enough. You want to have one idea per book. You don't want to have too many. I tend to put a lot in my books, but it's considered the best is to have one idea per book, and to after that, and to also pick a book and the idea that you're gonna run with on the long term, that you can create other products out of, and that you're gonna be most likely to stick to that subject, that same subject, for a long time. Is now a good time to tell us about your program, or will that come later? Thank you, Penny, for the question. So actually, the program it's simple to say what it is. It's a 12-week program where I basically help people not only write a book from A to Z, so from the title all the way to getting it published, getting it self-published in the right way, self-published, meaning, to have the proper structure, to have the proper form. And also within my group, what we do is we edit, so we do review the book. We review the editing part just to make sure we have an editor on staff that reads the book, make sure it's, well written. Of course, we all write really well, but there's sometimes we don't, and I read books from very well known people, and still I find mistakes. So there's always maybe going to be one or two that slips us, but the idea for an editor is to make sure it's well constructed, to make sure it's going to be something that is going to sell. And the program also that is 12-week is the way it's built. And the way it's different than any other thing out there is that we follow you step by step. Is the title a title that's going to be sellable? Are the chapters that are going to attract people? Is the book built so that you can build a business or help your business grow with it? So every step of the way, we analyze everything you do so that you're not left out there on your own wondering. Especially writing a book is such a lonely process. You're not out there wondering, am I doing it right? Am I spending too much time on this subject? Am I going off in the direction I shouldn't? So we follow you every step of the way to make sure that once the book is completed, well, it's not only great, but it's going to help you create more out of it for your business. So also in this 12-week program, I teach you about the business aspect of creating a business around the book or building a business around the book. So there's a lot of business aspects that I explain to help you know, well, how am I going to connect that to a digital product later on? How do I, even there's some mini courses on how do I create a mini website that's going to cater to the readers of my book. One that you can build on your own, that's very easy to build, so that it's not like a technical atrocity, something that's easy to do, at least to have a few pages so that people can find you and that you can upsell them on consulting or on something else. And then I also teach on marketing, how to build out the audience, how to get like a build up before you publish the book, so that at least there's some people knowing about it, so you don't waste time after the publishing in, crickets. You wrote a book, but nobody's interested. How to contact podcasts, how to go out there and talk about your book so that people know that you exist. What I love about, so, and if you're interested in the program and knowing more about it, just write yes in the comment. Yes, I want more, or yes, I want the information. And then someone will reach out to you by direct messaging on Facebook. And then we'll set up a call to see if you're ready to get to the program and start. So yes, so what I like is, what I wanted to do basically is hold people by the hand until they're done. Because one thing that I know, a lot of people want to write a book, but a lot of people never finish. 90% of people never finish the book they start because they're not supported. It's a very hard process when we're alone. I know about it. And then when they're done, they don't know what to do with it. So what I wanted to do is give all my over 10 years of experience in the field to bring someone really from the moment of conception, before even the moment of conception. What is going to be the book about? How are we going to build a business around it? All the way to being known with it, getting, and what I love about having a book in hand is that you don't really promote yourself, who you are. Why? Because, if, let's say you're, I don't know, you're a realtor, that's actually, that's a realtor that gave me that idea a long time ago, because when I started with my own business development company in 2005, the first company that hired me as a marketing expert and a consultant was a big real estate company that had 100 agents. And I would give coaching to the 100 agents. I would build up the firm. I helped it scale, etc., etc. But I remember I gave a speech one. There were like 100 of them in the room, and there was one lady that she kind of, I saw her because she looked different. She had more confidence than everybody else, and she was half listening. So I went to see her afterwards, and I found out that she was actually one of the number one or two of the company in sales. And so that's where her confidence came from. So I went to see her after, and she handed me her business card, and I knew at that point that she was, I think, number one or two in the company. And I looked at the business card, and it was her name, and under her name it said author of the book How to Sell a House in Less Than 30 Days. And I was like, oh, I get it. So she used her book to promote herself. So she didn't have to say, I help you sell a house in 30 days or less. She only had to give the book. And the thing that she would do, she told me, is she would go to doctors' offices, dentists, vets, and she would leave her books in the waiting room. So you cannot leave business cards in the waiting room, as you know. It's business. You can't do that. But nobody refuses you to leave a book. On the contrary, it's like pick a book, leave a book. So she would leave books a little bit everywhere. And it was like business cards that would last forever, because people don't throw away a book. They keep it. They share it, they lend it, they reread it. So it was like a business card that was multiplying everywhere, and she was getting calls, incoming calls. And I think that idea stuck to me up until recently, when 5, 7, 10 years ago now, when I started writing my own books as a promotion. But for me, it was first to share, and then I realized the impact it can have in promoting your own self, your brand, and growing. So that's what I love, is you can write a book that's gonna speak about you for you, which is the best promotion ever. Because then you don't have to say what you're good in or what you're good at or who you are. The book says it for you. And so it's one of the best testimonials you can have is, I'm not saying anything, just read my book. And so yes, so if you're interested, Just say yes, I'm interested, and then we'll reach out to you, and then we'll set up either a call or a discussion on Messenger to see if you're ready to take the leap and really follow this amazing journey. And really, my intention is that people succeed in not only writing the book, but building a business or growing their business through this course, through this coaching program, and through this website, this Facebook group. So I hope all of this helped you so far, and I hope I see you engaging in my Facebook group, and I will of course leave posts. I'll try to put more videos about writing, about my experience, articles as well, so you'll have stuff to read. So come often. It's really, I want to make it like one of the best Facebook groups and the best Facebook group for writing a book. I want people to really have a lot of value and feel comfortable coming here and getting information that you need. No matter if you take the course or not, but at least to have information and to feel like you're supported in that dream. And to make that dream a reality, because there's nothing in the world, nothing, like the day you receive your book in the mail and you look at it and you see your name and it's like, I did this. This is me. There's no feeling like that ever. So thank you a lot for being here. Thank you so much. And I wish you a great week, a great rest of the week. And then I will do my next live next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have any questions, write them down and come see me during my live. It's the best time to get the answers live right here and there. So thank you very much and have a great night. Bye.